Hey YouTube, this is Luke from Luke Paints Minis, and part of this channel that something I was trying to do is I was trying to do painting tutorials, or not even tutorials, but just showing off my projects and how I'm going through them as an amateur painter. I'm nowhere near as good as probably 70% of the or more of the YouTube painters out there, but just like to share my progress because I always like to create, and video is something I've always had an interest in. So there's two games that I primarily play, and my primary game is Xwing 2nd edition, but I've also started getting into Infinity, and they're about to release their 4th edition sometime this fall 2020. Had my first tournament with Infinity just this past weekend, and that was incredible, and that'll be a completely different video once I finish collecting all my thoughts. So anyways, today we're going to take a look at the Rebel faction, but before then we're going to show you the ship of the week, because I'm going to try to do this weekly. And this is my Xwing. Let's try to see if I can get this to focus. So this was a commission I did for one of my locals. You can tell this is one of my first screens. So I really wanted to do this one as a one of my learn how to paints, or show you how I'm doing my painting, and it's just not focusing. Almost got it. So got a lot of highlighting and other stuff going through on there, and just using some of the techniques I've learned from painting Infinity models. I'll take this black card from a luxury playstyle and see if that will help getting focus here. There we go. So got quite a bit of detail going on this one. What we can see is that I have a problem working in a mirror, but got quite a bit of detail out of this little ship, and they are tiny. So after I did the red one for my friend, I had to do a blue one for myself, and that's this guy right here. Because I love Xwings. They are my #1 love in this game, and well, in the Star Wars universe in general. So just try to see if we can get that to focus there somehow. There it is. Snap for a second. Anyways, you can see them on my Instagram channel, which is Luke Paints Minis on Instagram. I'll put a link in the description after I'm done this. So let's take a look at some squadrons. So hyperspace is the big one right now that just had a big shakeup. There's quite a few things in there, and we're just using ASB 2.0. So one of the big new releases was the B-Wings. So Gina Moonsong, Braylon and 10 Nub. So I've been a big fan of B-Wings for a long time. Yeah, I did succumb to Rebel Beef almost a year ago here to get my first cut in a hyperspace tournament. But I'm going to talk about them and what's changed in the last year. So Braylon and 10 have both changed points quite a bit. Jumping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This has not been updated. 2.0. This is not the latest version. It's still got Gina at 200. Well, that's just strange. So, okay. 10 Num and Braylon. I don't really like Gina. I haven't really looked at her too much. She's got this, you must transfer one of your stress tokens to another friendly ship at range 0 to 2, which I'm not too thrilled of. B-Wings have a hard time getting rid of stress already, so she either has to keep it or she has to change it over to a friend. Being an I-5, that's really cool. I like that. They're not too sure where to go with her in terms of upgrades, but there's quite a bit to go on there. Braylon, on the other hand, he has always been a powerhouse. If you're stressed, we roll up to 2 of your dice. A lot of reds to get stressed on, but when we introduce the stabilized S foils, you get a lot of interesting things here. So you already get rerolls, but you can also barrel roll to evade when closed. So you'll get an evade on your back end, which actually is even better for 10 num. So 10 num, you can barrel roll to evade, which will give you a stress and an evade token, which is effectively gives you focus evade, and you can spend that focus to clear the stress. So I think 10 actually becomes the best Xwing now. Braylon just definitely needs support from his friends. Since we lost... yeah, this is not up to date. So, you know what, maybe we should just use the official Xwing squad builder. Hyperspace Rebel Faction. I'll look at it later. Okay, here we go. So let's start with Braylon and 10 num. We're going to use stabilize S foils. We're going to go with the closed on startup. Not doing the double tap with this is cool, but it's not where I would start with it after some test games here. And yeah, like I said, 10 num is my number one now with these stabilized foils being closed. There's not a lot of ways to pull stress right now in hyperspace. None of the Y-Wings can do it. The only one that really can is Leia. So I really like Leia as a support piece here. So after a friendly ship fully executes a red maneuver, if it is in range 0-3, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that ship gains 1 focus or recovers 1 force. So that can work pretty good with Braylon. So it gives him focus and attack, rerolls on when he's stressed. So that's pretty cool. But how else do we build this out? We got 183 points, so there's not a lot left. One thing with Leia that I really like doing is adding... Hold on a sec. Gonna have to pause this. Give me a moment here. I can't pause it. Anyways, so let's go back to this here. I like Lando. There's a little bit of randomness involved in there, but if this was extended, I'd take Jen for sure. But other than that, like there's for K2SO's not bad, C3PO's not bad, but I think Lando would be my primary here just because it gives her a focus evade or a little bit more there, give her the title so she can defend. Gunners, we only got Agile Gunner. Waste of points, the little limited ones that we have. Force power, probably nothing I'm going to want to put in here. So let's focus on the B-Wings and get them tanked up. So we got Braylon and 10 here. Talents, they got rid of a lot of the fun ones, but being at I4, selfless is going to be good because we're going to be able to pull damage off of each other. So there we go, that's 200 selfless and not hull upgrades. So that puts them at 9 hit points each plus 13 from Leia, and that's going to be pretty tanky. So you can get your focus evades, so that way you're always going to be evading at least one. There's lots of hull to go through, so that's fun. Let's try this in hyperspace. This is something I was playing with, and I'm not saying this is good. This was just jank, and I would not look at this at all when it comes to if you're looking at competitive. So let's do that again, 10 and Braylon. And let's take a look at Leia, because I actually really like Leia in the modified YT. So there's Leia. We're going to put the configs back on. Now, one thing I was playing with, and I didn't really like it. Well, where is Jen? She's here somewhere. There she is. One thing I really liked with Leia is that we can now, with Jin or so, she can spend the focus or force to change the focus, and then change that focus to a evade with Jin or so. So that's pretty cool. We got 15 points left here for some talents. Why don't we grab the title for 3 points? So that puts us at 12 points. And let's find some talents here to go with. I'm not so big on most of these, to be honest. I don't know if much of them besides Crackshot is really going to be huge here. I was trying Juke B-Wings with this lineup, but yeah, that's a bad experiment. So that gets us to 190. Still got 10 points, and I think that's where we're going to mess around with Leia. And nothing says more fun than Magva. And that takes us 198. Is there anything to throw in? Because this one just doesn't really worry about stress too much. Tack Scrambler's kind of cool. So that way if your bees are hiding behind Leia, we'll get an extra die. If Leia gets shot, she gets a lock. She gets her force. That's not bad. But let's talk about Leia again here. So this is something fun and extended. And I actually really like the look of this here. This one is fun. So we're going to grab Leia again. Leia's probably become one of my favorite rebel in the Hotshot and Aces, and she's probably my number 3 pilot overall in this expansion. So gunner things first is Ezra. Crew, let's go find Magva again. Magva's really, really solid. Another crew, we're going to get Maul. And then we're going to add Hate. And then the title. So I've been playing this build for Leia. I've put on the board 4 or 5 times now at 125 points. And it is deadly. She constantly has all the mods. She's re-rolling on defense. Because she's taking evade action most turns. She's got 3 force. She's got hate to regain force. She's got Maul to gain a stress to gain force if shields aren't down yet. She's got Magva to gain the locks after she's been shot and hit. And then Ezra even allows her to double tap. So you can spend a force to attack from an attack arc you have not attacked from this round. So if you've got somebody on either side of you, you can attack out of both arcs. And that has been really fun, especially against swarms. But what do you put with her? That's the thing. So first place I went was Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is not a bad way to go. You can do a regen at 195, put on a, which I'm not big on. Let's just go afterburners and regular R2 astromechs or regen with afterburners. That's pretty cool. You're at 200 points. Once again, like, this one doesn't really need initiative, or sorry, first player or second player. So the bid's not as big, but and Luke's pretty hard to hit. The only thing I would change in this would be I might drop Magva down to Jin just to give her a little bit more, Luke a little bit more tankiness, but then we lose out on Leia being as powerful as she is. So Luke is out. We got 75 points. So what can we do with 75 points? You know what? We can add some headhunters. So we go Talus with crack shots. And you can fit 3 of these. There's no way to duplicate in this app that I know of. So this is where I'm building it from, and this is going to be the next version I put on the table here. So what do we get here? We get Leia. Hits fairly hard, has a lot of natural modifiers to her dice. It's almost 1.0 level of modifiers to her dice because everything, she can do whatever she wants. And she doesn't even care about stress. She has so many modifiers because this is a Magva Yarrow. Then you got 3 Talas, which are solid blockers for Leia to help set up some blocks. They got the crack shot in there to take down some enemies too, and just push a little bit more damage through. So this is a nice little fun swarmy list. Let's take a look at another one here that I really like. So, this is going to be extended again. Colby Sperato. Colby is one of my MVPs ever since I've started putting them on the board, and I absolutely love this guy. So, Colby's an initiative 4, and you can barrel roll or boost, and then flip your upgrade card. So with your servo foil motors, when you are closed, you can focus to boost. So with R4 Astromech and a Predator, you're essentially getting an Xwing that's almost as maneuverable as a Rebel A-Wing, but packs a much harder hit. Only I4 though. So I'm a big fan of doing I4 lists right now. We're off topic, like going to get off the pace here pretty bad. So we're going to add Blount. Blount's a really solid I4 option, and we're going to crack shot. And so Blount, when you're in range 1, or if there's a friendly ship within range 1, Blount gets an extra die. That's pretty cool. Now, let's try 10 Numb. Since there's no way in this list for anybody to pull stress off, we're going to try 10 Numb. And he's going to get stabilized S-foils. And he's also going to get snapshots. Let's see if this will fit. Arc, Sherabay, Crew, Saw. We still got 3 points left. This is great. You know what? I think we're going to do it. Hull upgrade. Okay, so this is pretty cute. This was cute. This is once again not a list that I take competitively, but it is something that I think I would have a lot of fun with. So Colby's super maneuverable. He's going to be your flanker. He's going to be able to move really fast, really far. Not too scared about that. Well, I'm not too worried. Sorry, not too scared about him. I would be scared of him because he's really underrated, and I think he's pretty good, especially since he'll have double mods if you can line up that bullseye. Blount's just gonna be a harasser. You're not gonna want to ignore him. Your enemy won't want to ignore him, but they're not gonna hunt him down either, right? Like they're gonna think that there's bigger threats on the board, and they're right. 10 Numb with snapshot. I'm probably gonna pull the snapshot off, to be honest. Yeah, I am. I don't think I'm going to do that. Let's go with Elusive. So that's going to make him a little bit tankier, because he's going to get the rerolls like Braylon on his defense roll. But he's also going to be able to either focus attack with his stabilized S-foils, or he's going to be able to focus evade too. So that's some options there. Since we're going to have Elusive, we're going to do the focus evade thing. And let's see if we can't fit ion cannon in this list here. Oh, that's going to put us over points. We're going to take out the hull upgrade. Shara's just going to die. She's going to be the first one to die. And tractor beam. Just 3 points. Okay, jamming beam. Why not? So 10 Numb is now going to be a real big threat. We actually got 4 big threats here, and they're all I4, so you can have a lot of flexibility in your maneuvering turn, in your activation phase. So let's go through and see what everything goes. So we talked about Colby. He's super maneuverable. He's going to be able to focus and boost every turn, and he'll always get his 3-die attack. So he's super fast, he's super maneuverable, and he's got his Predator. Blount is just going to be somebody that's going to push some damage through. He's just going to be annoying if he is ignored. He's an easy 31 points if they choose to focus on it, but if they choose to focus on Blount, then the rest of your squad is going to unleash some holy hell. Ten Nub is next. Ten Nub is going to be your control piece. So he's pretty flexible in this. He's going to get his rerolls on the evade. He's going to be able to spend his stress for for focus token, and he can either get a lock, so he'll have focus lock, or he can have focus evade. I think he's actually pretty versatile here, but he is going to be throwing naked dice for his first attack with the stabilized S foils. Next is Sharabe with Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera is pretty dangerous. When you perform an attack, you may suffer one hit to change all your focus to crit results. Shara, when you defend or perform a primary attack, you can spend the lock and gain one focus result. So if you roll all paint, when you roll your 3 or your 4 main attack dice, you can also get an extra focus result, and that is going to be intense because that's going to be a lot of crits. So she is going to pack a wallop, and she is going to die fast. And to be honest, if your opponent does not focus on Shara first, they're probably doing it wrong. But the other 3 will come in behind and just tear her up. Speaking of Shara, I got another list. So, let's play with this. And then after this, I'm going to reveal one of my favorite lists out there, and that's going to be pretty fun. So once again, these are not competitive lists. I do not consider any of these so far competitive lists, but I do think that they would be fun, and they would be very enjoyable to play out in the on your casual nights. I would not take them to a tournament unless it was a casual tournament. So first is first, Shara with Trick Shot. We're going to go R4 Astromech here with Wedge as well, give a little bit more maneuverability. I'm going to be a jerk and find Swarm Leader or Swarm Tactics. That's pretty nasty. And then Janor's. And I really like Jin. I know there's a lot of people online that talk about adding 9 Num to open up her dial, but I find that's not necessary. I find that Jin Urso is a much more valuable item on her ship. So, of course, we got to put the foils in there. Again, I want to put Afterburners on Wedge, give him a little bit more of a punch there. Let's go with engine upgrade because it's fairly cheap on Jan. So we're at 196. And you know what? With Trick Shot on Sharabe, that is pretty solid. I mean, I could fill this out for sure, but with Swarm Tactics, we definitely want to be... Actually, no, we don't care about shooting second. We want to shoot first. This is now strike list. So let's say goodbye to the bit. Let's get Jan to last a little bit longer here because she is the key piece. So, how this one works. This one is super deadly, and I'm super excited about it. Sharabe has Saw Gerrera, just like we had on the last list, and Trick Shot. So she naturally will shoot 3 dice at range 2. She'll shoot 4 dice at range 1. And if there's a rock in the way, she'll shoot 4 dice at range 2 and 5 dice at range 1. With Janor's, who gets to add an attack die, that is 6 dice at range 1 if obstructed. That is a lot of dice. That is actually the max that you can roll on attack in Xwing 2nd Edition. So she's going to hurt. She is going to hurt somebody hard. Expect her to die fast. Next up is Wedge. Wedge is going to be able to get Shara to shoot at I6, so that way she won't get initiative killed, because that's going to be pretty important. Afterburners to maneuver a little bit better. R4 Astromech to maneuver a little bit better as well. And then Janor's with Jin, shield upgrade, engine upgrade, multi-crow, just to make her a little bit more maneuverable and make her a little bit tankier, because she can be pretty fragile. All in all, high initiative list with some very, very intense firepower. And I don't expect this to win any tournaments, but I do expect it to win a couple of casual games and just be a lot of fun. So let's go to my last list of the day. We're going to start with Wedge. You know what? I just don't want to build rebels for hyperspace right now. I think they're in a bad space for hyperspace, so that's why I keep on looking at these extended lists, because I think they're just a lot more fun. Oh, what's this? Xwings. So K-Wings in first edition, for those who played in first edition, were negative play experience. They were very tough to go against. They had twin laser turrets, which essentially was auto damage, almost impossible to avoid. Their bombs were almost impossible to avoid with slam. They were just really, really difficult to deal with, and they got nerfed really heavily when second edition came out. I never really liked K-Wings in first edition. They weren't my playstyle. My playstyle is hitting very fast, very maneuverable, or having a lot of everybody helps each other, like a lot of synergy. So one of my favorite first edition lists was I took Jess Pava, whose ability is largely unchanged, 2 Green Squadron A-Wings, and Jan Ors in one list, and that allowed Jess to throw 6 or 7 dice on attack, fully modded, which was a lot of fun because I had Swarm Leader on her, which added dice. So she can spend an evade token of a friendly to add an extra attack dice. So 3 dice for her primary, plus 1 for range 1, plus Jan Ors for 5. For 5 dice, and then 7 dice with the 2 A-Wings heading off evades. It was pretty powerful. A lot of fun. So, going back to second edition, what can we do with the K-Wings? Well, I really like this list. I've taken... What? What just happened? Okay, it's still here. So I've taken this to 2 tournaments already, and I've taken second place in both. They were both casual tournaments, mind you, but I was going against guys that were practicing for Worlds for October 2019. So they are playing their most power-hungry lists, and I was able to do a lot of damage with this. So, how do we build this out? How does it work? First thing, the key piece. Han Solo Gunner. So now Han Solo allows you to attack at I-7 with your primary gun, which in this case is your turret. Or from your turret cannon, which in this case is your turret. So that does a couple things with Miranda. First of all, you can regen when your shields are down before you get shot, which can be pretty clutch and very, very good in the end game. And second of all, you can actually throw an extra die early as well to help try to strip some tokens. So that's been pretty powerful. I like to put some bombs on her. We're going to go with protons and seismics. We're going to add a shield upgrade, because with Miranda, she likes her shields. And crew, we're going to go with Sabine Wren, because how can you fly K-Wing without Sabine Wren? And I love Sabine. I don't care what anybody else says. Sabine is one of my favorite characters, and it's because she's an artist and I like painting, and I just kind of relate to her as a character. Missiles. This is where I did some experimenting, and I went with diamond borons, just because of the splash damage. So, don't know if you can read it there. So after the attack hits, you can spend an additional charge, and defenders have to roll dice and suffer some damage, which can be pretty nasty. Ziggy. Tickatoo. So crew, he's got a lot less going on his list. And I like putting seismic bombs on him. But you know what? With the points change, you know, crack shot. I really like crack shot, but I just noticed. Yeah. I'm really thinking about switching out to adding proton bombs here, just because I've liked that in the end game. But I like seismics over protons normally, but that's tough. I think I'd rather have a better end game wedge. Can I fit a hull upgrade on here, make him a little bit harder? No. You know what? No. We're going to go with bid, because bid actually makes a little bit of a difference here, because wedge is last. and we're going to want to be able to maneuver. So 2 points is not a lot of bid, admittedly, but it's enough against some list that you're going against. So how does this work? The 2 K-Wings are going to come up the side, and usually I have a Sigi back on the inside and Miranda out on the outside as they're coming up the side of the board. Wedge is going to swing in from behind, and then they're all going to turn and pounce. But this is going to be really important for rock placement, and you're going to have to really coax your opponent to come into the rocks, because you want them in the rocks to hit him with the seismic charges and the proton bombs and throw them around with Sabine, with tractor beams and all that other fun stuff. So that's what that's about. Perceptive Co-Pilot on a Sigi essentially allows Miranda and Wedge to have full mods on the joust, on their primary attacks when they're coming in, or allow Wedge to focus on defense as well, because Wedge is going to be taking target locks only during the joust, and he's going to be hiding behind both K-Wings, so that way when the K-Wings, so this is the side of the board, so the K-Wing should be going this way to engage through the rocks. K-Wing is going to drop off this way. Wedge is going to hard 3 and boost out, so right after the joust, so that way he is out of combat, and then he'll re-engage, because you really want to save Wedge to your end game. Wedge and Miranda want to be your end game, because everybody I play against, they think their win condition is the Sigi. It's not. The Sigi is very useful. The Sigi does make the list work, especially with Perceptive Co-Pilot. He makes it hit hard, but your win condition is Wedge. Taking Wedge down first is huge. After Wedge is down, then you can take down Miranda, and the Sigi is useless by himself. The Sigi is really there just to pass focuses off. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He's there to be annoying, essentially, and to do a lot there. And I'm looking over here because that's where my stream tool is, but my camera's here, so maybe I should change that up, but I don't know. We'll look at this later. So that's how that list works, and that's a lot of fun. So yeah, if you like this idea of me going through lists, just more casual stuff or even more competitive stuff, analyzing some of the meta lists. I'm not the best person for that because that's not really my thing. I really like these more synergy lists that are going on. The only really hard meta list that I'm playing, and I wouldn't really consider it hard meta because it's kind of tier 2 meta right now in the competitive scene, is 5 A-Wing, 5 RZ2s for Resistance, or Poe and 3A, which I have been flying both of those lists for almost a year now, since the RZ2 came out, and I love them both. Those are my primary. So this channel, gonna try to make it a mixture of things. Gonna try to make it a mixture of X-Wing tactics, X-Wing squad building, in my experience joining the Infinity community, because I'm so new in it. I've only played 7 games, but I absolutely love it, and I've invested a lot into it already. And painting. So I'm gonna look at building some money to get a better camera, because this little Logitech webcam is not exactly great for doing painting. So I got some fancier cameras I can use for that, and that's where I'm gonna go. So thank you for watching. Comment on the stream in the comments about anything I can help improve, or go from there, because this channel is still in its infancy, and this is all trial run stuff for now until I figure out really how to brand this. So this is Luke from Luke